Hello YouTube, my name is Sam. I once told the story of the time when my brother cracked open his skull and all the blood came gushing out. I'm paraphrasing a bit there. When I told that story though, I mentioned that I have only seriously injured myself once. Of course, I am not counting the fingers that I have broken since I never got those checked out. But who goes to the hospital to get fingers sorted out, seriously? All they do is tape them up, and that makes it difficult to play games. The one time I seriously injured myself was the time I broke my elbow. We were going to go swimming that day, me, my friend Darshan, and my other friend Daniel. We weren't going for a while, so we were just messing about trying to waste some time. Jumping off things, climbing things, you know how kids do. Naturally, the only time in my life I mess up doing one of these actions, I seriously injure myself. I basically jumped a fence, but caught my feet at the top of it, and landed on the hard ground with all of my weight on my forearm. The process was insanely quick, you know, because of acceleration due to gravity being 9.8 meters per second squared. When I landed, I heard a snap. Blood rushed to my head. Anyone who has broken a bone probably knows what I mean when I say the rush of adrenaline. Anyways, the first thing I said when I realized what had just happened was, "I think I broke my elbow!" My friends didn't believe me. I proceeded to try and walk it off. The more and more time after the initial incident though, the more it hurts. I still wanted to go swimming though, so we sat down and played some Project Gotham Racing 2 on the Xbox 360. Brilliant game. I even drove a couple of races with my elbow wrapped up in a towel. Eventually though, I realized I wouldn't make it swimming. I needed to go to the hospital, so I walked back home. It's only like 70 meters, so it isn't that far. I walked into the living room and said to my mum, "Can you please take me to A&E?" She replied, "Why, Sam?" So I said, "I think I broke my elbow." It was pretty funny at the time. The way I said it made my mum not believe me though, until I said, "Seriously?" My mum is a very panicky person. She worries a bit too much. So, she started rushing around the house finding shoes and all the other things that she needed. I really wasn't too fussed. It hurt, but I wasn't in too much of a rush. I just wanted to be home before Doctor Who started. The hospital isn't too far away from my house, about 5 or 10 minute drive, with only one set of traffic lights on the way. So it didn't take too long to get there. Anyone will know that the hard thing at the hospital though is waiting. It was about half an hour before I even got to see the first nurse. She done the normal check, does this hurt, blah 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 blah. She then gave me some medicine. It was this weird lemon medicine, I can't remember the name of it, but it is the Marmite of medicine. You either love it or it makes you throw up. That is why the nurse mixed it with Calpol. You know Calpol, the nicest medicine known to mankind. I went back to waiting before going to get an x-ray. There was another boy there who had lots of cuts down his right leg. I can't quite remember his story, but it involved him falling down the stairs and landing on some glass. I can't quite remember whether it was a bottle or what he landed on. I do remember one thing though. It happened in the middle of the night, and his mum simply bandaged it up because she didn't want to deal with being in the emergency room at night. When they woke up in the morning, it was still bleeding and had the fragments of glass still lodged in his leg. He had been waiting longer than me at the hospital. You would think that someone bleeding with glass in their leg would be seen to as quickly as possible, but that just wasn't the case. They sent me to get an x-ray. I had never had an x-ray before. I have since only had 3. But it is weird your first time getting an x-ray. the nurse or doctor doing it protects himself so much it scares you. I am an intelligent person, and I know the long-term effects of radiation, and I know that a small amount of radiation in an X-ray will do nothing to you. I also know the doctor only protects themselves because they give so many X-rays a day, but it is still weird. The results of the X-ray clearly shown a crack right along my elbow. Could have been a lot worse, and considering I have no after damage, I got off lightly. They put me in a temporary cast due to swelling, and told me to go back in 5 days to get a permanent cast on. I was at the hospital around 3 hours, which doesn't seem too long, but it drags out so badly. I got home before Doctor Who. I missed out on swimming, but so did Oshan and Daniel. There was a gala on at the pool that day which meant they couldn't swim. So instead, they went into town and bought Crackdown. Good game as well. Came with the Halo 3 beta on the disc, which was the main reason anyone bought it. But playing it for the game itself is a good thing to do. It paved the way for games like Infamous and Prototype, but Crackdown also had awesome cars. When I went back to school on Monday, people were saying I was faking it. I was thinking, how can you fake a broken elbow? I told them my story, and soon they realized I wasn't faking it. It's not very cool though to have a broken elbow. It was my left arm, and not my right arm, which is my dominant arm, so I was still able to write. Also, it wasn't a leg, so I didn't get any cool crutches to walk along on. There's also nothing but negatives really. I like PE, and I couldn't do most of that. I say most because I was still playing one-armed dodgeball and doing pretty good at it. Plus, I can do one-armed press-ups, so I was still able to take part in fitness. In the recovery period, there was really only one bad moment. I was wearing fairly slippy socks, and I was walking down the stairs. I slipped near the bottom of the staircase and hit my elbow off the last 5 steps on the stairs. It was really painful. It was the most pain I had been in since the initial incident of breaking it. If you are planning on breaking a bone yourself, I don't recommend your left arm, unless you are left-handed. If you can get out of writing, then if you can't get out of writing, it isn't worth it. A leg would be much better for you to break in theory. You'd still be able to play Call of Duty at 100% of your ability. Hopefully, 100% of your ability is as good as 100% of my ability, but that can be contested. The recovery period on a broken leg though is a bit longer than an elbow or a finger or your arm. I don't recommend breaking your leg. I repeat, I don't recommend breaking your leg. In fact, I don't recommend breaking any bone, but if you really want to, I'm not going to stand here and stop you. Thank you for listening to my story. My name is Sam.
That's how it's done. Nice job, team.